Students, in the previous post, we saw different dimensions of feminism. Now let's move on to the other nuances of feminist criticism. Let's see feminist criticism and the role of theory. Feminist criticism is a form of literary criticism which was framed based on feminist theories. The Anglo American version of feminism tended to be more skeptical about reason critical theories. It is inclined towards liberal humanistic tendencies of criticism with its interest in traditional concepts like theme, motive, and characterization. Let me explain the slide. Feminist criticism is a form of literary criticism which devised its ideology by using feminist theories. Anglo American feminism believes that reason critical theories are not much reliable and it develops a lack of confidence over the modern critical theories. And the Anglo American feminism has its hold on liberal humanistic approach as it focuses on man's abilities and strongly believes in man's sanity. And liberal humanistic approach implies that man is the center of attention in all social, political, and economic as well as ethical systems. Man is the right person to think and decide what is good and bad, what is essential and inessential. Anglo American feminists are highly interested in registering the feministic issues or elements in a traditional mode like theme, motive, and characterization. Let's see the works of major Anglo American feminists. Here I have enlisted a few Anglo American writers and their works. For example, Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystic, Mary Illman's Thinking About Women, Kate Millet's Sexual Politics, and German Geer's A Female Eunuch, and Shulamit Firestone's The Dialectic of Sex. The American critic Elaine Showalter is usually taken as the major representative of this approach, but there are other exemplars like Sandra Gilbert and Susan Gubar, Patricia Stubbs and Rachel Brownstein. Let's see Anglo American feminism in brief. Anglo American feminism grew out of socialist politics. That is, Anglo American feminism has its evolution from socialist politics. Socialist politics is nothing but socialism. So, if we take the motto of socialism, everyone is equal in the society with no discrimination. The same motto was possessed by Anglo American feminism. We move on to next point. Anglo American feminism is more activism oriented. More activism oriented means more active in bringing social, political, and economic reformation to create a better society through the theories of feminism. Third point. The Anglo American feminists question the role of gender within the framework of patriarchal society. Anglo American feminists question the role of gender from the perspectives of patriarchy and its meaningless norms. Let's see major exemplars of Anglo American feminists which we have already seen. Anyway, let me repeat it. Betty Friedan, Mary Illman, Kate Millett, German Geer, and Shulamit Firestone. In the previous slide, we saw what is Anglo American feminism. Now let's see French feminism. French feminism developed out of philosophical tradition and it is more theory oriented. Theory oriented in the sense which is right opposite Anglo American feminism. Because Anglo American feminism is more activism oriented, whereas this form of feminism is more theory oriented. And French feminists study the theory of the role of gender in language, writing, drawn from Derridian post-structuralism, and Lacanian psychoanalysis in terms of Saussurian linguistics. That is, the French feminist studied and evaluated the role of gender in language and writing from the perspectives of Derridian post-structuralism and Lacanian psychoanalysis in terms of Saussurian linguistics. French feminists radically claimed that all Western languages are utterly male-centered and male-dominated, which means all Western languages are completely male-centered and male-dominated, which means this form of language could be used, could be successfully employed and aptly employed by male writers, and which is really unsuitable for female writers. We move on to next point. Let's see some of the major exemplars of French feminism. Julia Kristeva, Helen Sixers, and Lucy Irigaray. Let's see the differences between Anglo American feminism and French feminisms in a nutshell. Anglo American feminism evolved from socialist politics, whereas the French feminism developed out of philosophical tradition. Anglo American feminism is more activism oriented and French feminism is more theory oriented. Anglo American feminists question the role of gender within the framework of patriarchal system, whereas the French feminists studied and evaluated the theory of gender from linguistics, structuralistic and psychoanalytic view. Anglo American feminism doesn't look beyond the traditional concept likely, theme, motive and characterization, and French feminism claims that all Western languages are male-centered or male-dominated. And it was well supported by one of the British feminist writers, Virginia Woolf, who claimed that language is gendered. And French feminists accepted, and she developed the idea of écriture féminine. Écriture féminine is nothing but female language which is well suited for female. The last slide shows the impact of French feminism. French feminism had a huge impact on Anglo-American literary criticism with its linguistic analysis and psychoanalytical bent. French feminists are particularly concerned with language and psychology. Thank you so much for your patience listening.